In today's video, we're going to be doing some keyword research to help you find profitable keywords for your audiobooks through Audible and ACX. What is going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Dane, and on this channel I talk all about self-publishing books on Amazon, all in entrepreneurship, and just lifestyle in general. So if that kind of thing interests you, make sure you subscribe, drop a like on the video, and hit the notification bell so you know when I post new videos. In today's video, I'm going over a very popular and high demand topic, video topic for my channel that people always request me make a video about, and that is finding profitable keywords on Audible and ACX for your audiobooks. And one thing I should mention before we even get into any of the different steps I take to find profitable keywords is that all of these keywords usually come from doing keyword research first on KDP, finding a paperback version and ebook version of that keyword that's going to be profitable. From there, you move to Audible because you basically take your KDP book and put it onto Audible directly through ACX, and it goes on to Audible. So basically, finding the keywords first on KDP. So I'll link my KDP keyword research video somewhere on in this video, so you can go to that if you haven't watched that first. You have an idea how to find keywords. This is going to be kind of solidifying that these keywords will be good in audio format as well. And I know that some people will just focus on Audible and audio format only, so they'll just find a profitable keyword on Audible and then go from there, not even make a paperback and ebook version. But so you can really use this technique I'm going to use today for both ways, but I'm generally going to do it the way of going through KDP first and then moving on to Audible. So now that's out of the way, the first thing that I consider before we get into my computer here and I start showing you all the steps, the first thing I consider before making an audiobook is, it's kind of obvious, but a lot of people will overlook it, is you want to make sure that the keyword that you're using and you're making an audiobook about makes sense in audio format, okay? So what I mean by this is if you have, say, for example, a cookbook or a book that has a lot of pictures and it does well on KDP, it's a popular keyword on there, just think for a second, a book in audio format that has pictures and like a cookbook that people want to reference pictures to and actually see things going on in the book, in audio format, that doesn't really make sense. From my experience, I've tried doing cookbooks on Audible before and they just never turn out well. So that's something to consider before you even start doing keyword research. Does your book on KDP in paperback and ebook format have pictures, require pictures for it to make sense? And if it does, generally speaking, it's not really going to make sense in audio format. So after you've made that decision and it makes sense in audio format, the keyword that you're using, go on to Audible, make sure you're incognito here. We're gonna dive in my computer here now. See top right, I'm in incognito mode and I'm on audible.com at the top here. Make sure you're on audible.com. Don't make sure you're not on like .ca or the UK website. .com is the one where you wanna do this. So the first thing I do before I do anything when it comes to Audible and making sure my keyword is relevant on there and it's popular is I'm actually gonna go to audible.com. So once you're on audible.com, the search bar up here, type in your keyword, and you saw that I did how to talk to anyone and everyone. So before I start going into details on what makes it more profitable once we're on the page, let me just do it from the very beginning. So if, say, your keyword is how to talk to anyone, and that's from KDP, you're like, okay, I want to make an audiobook about this, and that makes sense in audio format, start typing your keyword into the Audible search bar, okay? How to, let's just see, if I type in how to, does it pop up? It does, okay? So you wanna make sure, since there's no ads or anything on Audible, it's solely SEO based, which basically means that the only way that people are gonna find your book is if your title contains the keywords that they're searching. And in order for them to find it, it needs to be relevant. So you can see as I typed in how to into the search bar here, you can see Audible starts auto-suggesting things. And these auto-suggestions that you're seeing me scroll through here are things that people are searching, which means that they're in demand and they're popular and they're things that people are searching and want to buy an audiobook for. So you can see it actually auto-populates for already when I type in how to, you see how to talk to anyone right here. If I were to type in how to talk, it would auto-populate as well. How to talk to anyone, okay? So clearly that has some relevancy and people are searching for it. So after you've verified that it's relevant and people are searching for it by typing it into the search bar and see if it auto-populates, the next thing that I look for is how many results are showing up for that particular keyword. So for how to talk to anyone, we have 137 results. Typically anything under 100 or 150 results is definitely something that has potential and you can compete with. If it has thousands of results on Audible, it's going to be a lot more difficult to get your book ranking and getting sales from it. Typically speaking, if you can't get on the first or second page of Audible for your keyword, your main keyword, you're probably not going to make very many sales. And this is me speaking from experience, okay? First page is obviously the best. You get a lot more sales. The further up you are, the further your ranking. So anyways, Make sure there's under 150 results. Anything more than that to be very hard to compete with. So the next thing that I look for after I've verified that there's not too many results popping up is the audio BSR, okay? And if you don't have the extension for this, you're probably not seeing these numbers here, but all you have to do is download a free extension called BSR Master. And it's gonna look like this. It's just a Google Chrome extension called BSR Master, like this, okay? If you don't have it, download it. It's free. Add it to your Chrome extensions. Make sure it's enabled in incognito mode so you can use it incognito. It will show you the audiobook BSRs. This is a lot different than looking on KDP, okay? On KDP, we're looking for an average BSR that's below like 100 to 150,000, okay? On Audible, I usually look for something that's 10,000 or lower. 10,000 to 20,000 is okay, but 10,000 or lower is definitely decent, and it's gonna get you a lot of sales on a month-to-month basis. It means there's high demand for that keyword. You can see this one's 462. 11,000, 19,000, 17,000. So these aren't bad, okay? People are definitely buying these audiobooks. As you scroll down, there's a little bit less. This one has 325,000 or 325, sorry. Some are like 50K. But so since there's a couple that are below 1,000 even, that's very, very good. After that, I'm gonna look at the amount of reviews on some of these books, okay? So the higher the reviews are, the harder it's gonna be to compete, because we can't get 9,000 reviews for our single book right away. It's gonna be very difficult, obviously. But you can see some of them have 66 reviews, 114. So what you're looking for is for the competitors to be below 75 to 100 for the most part, okay? And I'm seeing a lot of these are. And this one's 3,000. That's a lot, but that's a bit of an outlier. You can see most of them, 40, 84, 76, are below the 50 to 100 mark, which is definitely decent. You can definitely compete with that. The last thing I'm looking for, a lot of people overlook this, is the length. So I'm looking on Audible, I'm looking for how long the competitors' books are. Typically speaking, if you have a 30,000 word to say 50,000 word book on KDP, that amount of words is going to translate to 3 to 5 hours. Okay, 30,000 words, 3 hours. Just think about that. Drop the zeros and just put the first number there. So 50,000 words would be around 5 hours long. So typically speaking, if it's 9 hours long, that book is probably around 90,000 words. So it's very long. And the longer the book is, the harder it's going to be to compete with that book. People like longer audiobooks. For the most part, some audiobooks, some keywords that you find won't really care about how long the books are, but it is definitely something to take into consideration. You can see this one's an hour long, so it's still doing well. So that might actually be okay. But for some keywords, you'll find that the books that sell better and that have lower BSRs are books with more words and that are longer. And people just like to enjoy audiobooks in that format. So that's another thing to consider. Okay, so I have another example here. Let's open up the other example just to give you some more ideas. This one was intermittent fasting, and when I type in intermittent into the Audible search bar, it autofills, and one of the first one that pops up is fasting. So I search this one, and you can see this has 950 results. So before I even get into that, obviously intermittent fasting, not a whole lot of pictures probably, it's just a lot of explaining and step-by-step kind of thing. So this would definitely make sense in audio format. And you can see as I scroll through, the audio BSRs are pretty low, right? And that's pretty good. That means that you're gonna get quite a few sales if you can get your book ranking on the first page on Audible. And the reviews for the competitors are a little bit higher, 122, 900, 755. This one's only 70. This one's 256. So a keyword like this in audio format is something that I probably wouldn't try for. It has 1,000 results. It's gonna be very hard to compete with and get your book onto the first or second page and really make any sales at all. And again, looking at it, the first ranking book is 7 hours long. Typically speaking, like I said, longer books usually rank better on Audible and they get more sales. People like longer books. The final keyword I'll look at here is hydroponics gardening. Okay, this is one that I always use. If you type in hydroponics into Audible, it autofills, so it is relevant. And just thinking about it, it's kind of good in audio format. People probably want to see pictures for gardening stuff, so this one's kind of in between. Some of them are very clear cut, like if it's a cookbook, it's definitely not going to do very well on Audible. People want to look at pictures. But if hydroponics gardening is kind of in between, being good in audio format, being not good. But what will solidify that decision is looking at the audio BSRs for some of these. Most of them are not very great. This one's 8,000, so it's obviously not doing too bad. 6,000, 200K, 200K, 130K, 81K, 200K. So a lot of these books aren't doing very well in audio format. A couple of them are doing decent. I'm just looking at the topics for them. They're a little bit different than what we actually searched. So they're kind of ranking for this keyword, but not really relevant. And you can see, looking at the length of these, the ones that are actually selling well are all over 10 hours long. They're actually pretty long books. So if your book is only 30K words on KDP, that's fine. What you can do is make a second book in that, make a series or something, and then bundle them together and make them 6 hours long on Audible, so it's a little bit longer of a book. But as you can see, this one, the amount of results is pretty low. But one thing to consider with lower results, this isn't bad, but if it's like below 20 results, that might mean that there's not really that much demand for it and people aren't making books about that particular keyword for a reason. So take that into consideration as well. But anyways, that is pretty much it when I do my Audible keyword research, ACX keyword research. It's not very difficult. It's just kind of solidifying that it will do well on Audible from the KDP versions, the paperback and the ebook version. So the things that I look for, again, just to reiterate, are making sure first off before anything, make sure it makes sense in audio format. It's not like a cookbook. It requires lots of photos. It's something that would make sense if someone was speaking it to you and not just looking at it. Second thing I look at is if it's relevant. So make sure you type the thing into the search bar on audible.com. Make sure it's not the Canadian website or the UK website. Type it in the search bar and see if it auto populates. If it does, that's a great sign. Next thing I look for is below 150 to 100 results. Okay, not too low though, like I was saying. 100 to 150 and below that is good. Maybe 50 or more is good too, but the lower the better, but sometimes it might mean there's not a lot of demand if there's not a whole lot of results. After that, I look at the audio BSR. Make sure it's below 10K, maybe 10K to 20K if you want to make some money, but below 10K is usually the sweet spot. You'll get a lot more sales at that amount. So make sure there's a few books ranking for that are below 10K and doing well. And then the next thing I look for is to see how long the average book is that's ranking for that keyword. Like I said, typically speaking, longer books or longer audiobooks seem to rank better on Audible. So that is something to take into consideration when you're making audiobooks. If you have a 30K word book, like I said, you make a second book that's also 30K words, you have 60K words in, make a bundle out of them and put them onto Audible and make a 6 hour long version so you can rank better and get more sales. And if you don't know or you're not familiar, the longer your book is on Audible, the more you get paid in royalties for that particular book per sale. And one of the other things I forgot to mention is the reviews. Okay, make sure there's not like tons of books with thousands of reviews. It's gonna be very hard to compete with that. If you can find a lot of competitors that have usually under 100 to under 50 reviews on average for that particular keyword that you're searching for, that is a great sign. Anyways, that's it for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe, drop a like on it, and hit the notification bell so you know when I post new videos. Try to post new videos about KDP publishing, Audible ACX, online entrepreneurship, and lifestyle around 1 time per week. So if you subscribe to me, you'll be getting videos about those topics, usually on a weekly basis. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed my keyword research methods for Audible. If you did, again, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.